Welcome back to our epic journey through Stratholme's haunted legacy. In Part 4, the battle for the city's soul intensifies as the Brotherhood of the Light leads a daring assault against the demonic dreadlord Balnazzar and the fallen paladin Aurius Rivendare. The Argent Crusade fights to reclaim sacred ground, while the Knights of the Ebon Blade and the Silver Hand hunt for relics amidst the undead horde. As the Fourth War reignites the Scourge's threat, a chilling discovery in Stratholme's Slaughterhouse unveils a new danger. Join us as we explore heroism, redemption, and the unrelenting shadows of Azeroth's cursed city. The adventurers, guided by the Brotherhood of the Light, launched a series of coordinated assaults on Stratholme. In the western city, they confronted Balnazzar, whose demonic form and risen minions posed a formidable challenge. The dreadlord, enraged by his previous defeat, unleashed fell magic and summoned demonic allies, but the adventurers' resolve, bolstered by the Brotherhood's holy blessings, proved stronger. After a fierce battle, Balnazzar was slain, his risen forces crumbling without his leadership. The defeat of the dreadlord was a significant victory, dismantling a major demonic presence in Stratholme and avenging the Scarlet Crusaders who he had betrayed. In the eastern city, adventurers faced Aurius Rivendare, whose tragic fall mirrored the city's own descent into darkness. Aurius, wielding necromantic powers and commanding undead legions, fought to maintain the Scourge's hold on his domain. The battle was both a physical and emotional struggle, as adventurers confronted a paladin who had once stood for the light. Ultimately, Aurius was defeated, his death marking the end of the Rivendare family's reign over Stratholme. The fall of both Balnazzar and Aurius weakened the Scourge's control, opening the door for a broader offensive to reclaim the city. With Balnazzar and Aurius Rivendare defeated, the Argent Crusade seized the opportunity to launch a full-scale assault on Stratholme's remaining undead forces. The Crusade, formed from the merger of the Argent Dawn and remnants of the Silver Hand, was determined to reclaim the city as a symbol of their mission to restore the Plaguelands. Their forces stormed Stratholme, battling through hordes of ghouls, abominations, and necromancers to secure key areas. The Crusade established two primary bases within the city: Alonsus Chapel, the historic site where the Silver Hand was founded, and the Scarlet Bastion, formerly the stronghold of the Scarlet Crusade. Alonsus Chapel, despite its desecration, was purified and fortified, serving as a spiritual anchor for the Crusade's paladins and priests. The Scarlet Bastion, cleansed of Balnazzar's influence, was repurposed as a command center for military operations. From these bases, the Argent Crusade coordinated efforts to clear Stratholme's streets and push back the Scourge. The sight of the Crusade's banners flying over these iconic locations was a powerful symbol of hope, evoking memories of Stratholme's days as a beacon of the light. However, the Crusade's control was temporary and tenuous. Despite their victories, the undead still roam Stratholme's streets, lurking in the shadows of its burned-out districts. Scourge's deep-rooted presence, reinforced by years of necromantic corruption, proved difficult to eradicate entirely. Pockets of undead resistance, led by lesser Scourge commanders, continued to harass the Crusade, while the Plaguelands' blighted landscape posed ongoing challenges. The Argent Crusade's foothold in Stratholme was a significant achievement, but it fell short of full reclamation, leaving the city in a state of contested limbo. The events of the Catacyslm in Stratholme underscored the enduring struggle to wrestle the city from the Scourge's grasp. Balnazzar's creation of the Risen and Aurius Rivendare's tragic reign highlighted the Scourge's ability to corrupt and repurpose the living, turning former allies into instruments of destruction. The Brotherhood of the Light's campaign, culminating in the defeat of both leaders, demonstrated the resilience of the Light's champions, who refused to abandon Stratholme despite its grim history. The Argent Crusade's temporary control of Alonsus Chapel and the Scarlet Bastion was a symbolic victory, reaffirming the city's sacred legacy even as the undead lingered. Stratholme's story during the Cataclysm reflects its broader arc as a city of triumph and tragedy. From its founding as an Arathi settlement to its role as a birthplace of the Silver Hand, its destruction in the Second War, and its fall during the Third War, Stratholme has endured countless trials. The Cataclysm added another chapter, one of fleeting hope amidst persistent darkness. The city's burning ruins, contested by the living and the dead, remained a testament to the cost of war and the enduring quest for redemption. The Argent Crusade's efforts, though incomplete, paved the way for future campaigns to purify the Plaguelands, as seen later on in Azeroth's history, where the Light's champions continued to honor Stratholme's memory. The defeat of Balnazzar and Aurius Rivendare weakened the Scourge's hold, but the city's fate remained uncertain, a haunting reminder of the challenges faced in Azeroth in the wake of the Cataclysm. Stratholme, forever marked by its past, stood as a crucible where the ideals of the light were tested against the unrelenting shadow of undeath. During the Cataclysm, Stratholme's status as the Scourge's largest stronghold in Lordaeron was challenged by the return of Balnazzar, the rise of Aurius Rivendare, and the determined efforts of the Brotherhood of the Light and Argent Crusade. Balnazzar's creation of the Risen and Aurius' tragic leadership deepened the city's darkness, but the Brotherhood's campaign to eliminate these threats and the Crusade's temporary control of Alonsus Chapel and the Scarlet Bastion offered a glimmer of hope. Though the undead persisted, Stratholme's legacy as a city of the light endured, its burning streets a battleground for those who sought to reclaim its honor from the ashes of despair. Legion. Third invasion of the Burning Legion, a demonic force seeking to conquer Azeroth, brought chaos and upheaval to the world, stretching the resources of the Alliance, Horde, and other factions. In the Plaguelands, Stratholme remained a key Scourge stronghold, its streets filled with undead remnants under the command of lingering necromancers and death knights. The fall of Aurius Rivendare and the dreadlord Balnazzar during the Cataclysm weakened the Scourge's grip, and the Argent Crusade's temporary control of areas like Alonsus Chapel and the Scarlet Bastion had offered hope, but the city was far from purified. The perpetual fires, necromantic blight, and Roman undead ensured that Stratholme remained a dangerous and contested zone. The Legion's invasion, while focused on the Broken Isles, rekindled conflicts in the Plaguelands as the Scourge sought to exploit the chaos. Stratholme's strategic position in the Eastworld and its historic significance as a center of the light made it a focal point for both the undead and those who opposed them. The Knights of the Ebon Blade, Death Knights freed from the Lich King's control, and the reformed Order of the Silver Hand, reinvigorated under a new High Lord, saw Stratholme as both a threat and an opportunity to strike at the Scourge and reclaim relics of power. The Knights of the Ebon Blade, a faction of Death Knights who had broken free from the Lich King's dominion during the events of Wrath of the Lich King, launched a daring incursion into Stratholme during the Legion's invasion. Their objective was to retrieve the saddle of the Death Charger, a legendary mount once ridden by Baron Rivendare. Death Charger, a skeletal warhorse imbued with necromantic power, was a symbol of the Scourge's might, and its saddle held significant value for the Ebon Blade, likely as a relic to enhance their own unholy steeds, or to prevent it from falling into enemy hands. The Ebon's Blade assault was brutal, as the Death Knights, masters of necromancy and martial prowess, carved a path through Stratholme's undead defenders. Their mission led them deep into the city's eastern districts, where they encountered formidable resistance. Among the enemies they faced were a patchwork horror, a grotesque amalgamation of flesh and bone, likely a creation of the Scourge's necromancers. This monstrosity, similar to the abominations that roamed Stratholme, tested the Death Knight's strength with its raw power and resilience. Vivian Lament, a ghostly entity haunting the city's ruins, was a spectral figure, possibly the restless spirit of a citizen or priestess killed during the Cullen, or subsequent Scourge occupation, wielded ethereal powers that challenged the Ebon Blade's resolve. The battle was intense, with the Death Knight's unholy magic clashing against the Scourge's necromantic forces. The Patchwork Horror's brute strength and Vivian Lamont's ghostly wails created the Gauntlet of Horrors, but the Ebon Blade's determination prevailed. After defeating these foes, they secured the Death Charger's saddle, a victory that bolstered their arsenal and weakened the Scourge's symbolic hold over Stratholme. The mission underscored the Ebon Blade's willingness to confront Scourge in even the most dangerous strongholds, reflecting their complex roles as both allies and outcasts in the fight against the Legion and its allies. Concurrent with the Ebon Blade's efforts, the reformed Order of the Silver Hand, revitalized under the leadership of a new High Lord, turned their attention to Stratholme. Their mission was twofold: to secure the city's famed holy water, renowned for its ability to cleanse dark magics, and to purify Shadowmane, a corrupted mount recovered from the Death Knight Ramian the Soul Taker. Shadowmane, a noble steed tainted by necromantic energies, was a prize sought by the Silver Hand to create the glowing reins of the Golden Charger, a sacred mount embodying the light's purity and strength. Ramian the Soul Taker, a rogue Death Knight operating in the Plaguelands, posed a significant threat. He sought to spread the plague of undeath once more, echoing the horrors of the Third War. The Silver Hand, determined to prevent another catastrophe like the Cullen of Stratholme, tracked Ramian and recovered Shadowmane after defeating him. However, the Mount's corruption required the holy water of Stratholme, produced in the city's sacred fonts, and blessed by the Church of the Holy Light centuries ago. This water, stored in Alonsus Chapel and other holy sites, was one of the few substances capable of purifying Shadowmane's contamination. The Silver Hand's campaign began with the strategic assault on Stratholme's Elders Square, accessed through the East Wall Gate service entrance. This area, a central plaza in the city's eastern district, was heavily guarded by undead forces, including ghouls, banshees, and necromancers. The paladins, led by the High Lord, fought to clear the square, their hammers glowing with the light as they smote the undead. Elder Square was secure as a staging point, allowing a Silver Hand to establish a foothold in the city. From there, they advanced to Alonsus Chapel, the historic site where the Silver Hand was founded, which they repurposed as their base of operations. Within Alonsus Chapel, the paladins found remnants of the holy water, carefully preserved despite the Scourge's desecration of the city. The chapel, though scarred by years of conflict, remained a symbol of the light's endurance, its sacred fonts still capable of producing the blessed water needed for their mission. The Silver Hand used the holy water to purify Shadowmane, transforming the corrupted steed into the Golden Charger, a radiant mount that embodied the Order's ideals. The creation of the glowing reins marked a triumph for the Silver Hand, reinforcing their commitment to restoring the light's presence in Stratholme. The Silver Hand's campaign also targeted Ramian the Soul Taker and the remaining Scourge forces in Stratholme. Ramian, a formidable Death Knight, had gathered a cadre of undead loyalists to spread the plague, threatening to destabilize the Plaguelands further. The Paladins, supported by their High Lord, confronted Ramian in a climactic battle within Stratholme's eastern districts and the Slaughterhouse, a key Scourge stronghold. Ramian's necromantic powers and undead minions posed a significant challenge, but the Silver Hand's mastery of holy magic and their resolve to protect Azeroth prevailed. Ramian was slain, and his forces were scattered, dealing a blow to the Scourge's efforts to revive the plague. With Ramian's defeat, the Silver Hand turned their attention to the remaining Scourge members in Stratholme. The Paladins systematically cleared pockets of undead resistance, targeting necromancers, abominations, and other horrors that lingered in the city's ruins. While they could not fully eradicate the Scourge's presence, their efforts significantly weakened the undead forces, creating a safer environment for future operations in the Plaguelands. The Silver Hand resolved to maintain a vigilant watch over Stratholme, recognizing the city's history of tragedy and its strategic importance required ongoing attention to prevent the Scourge from regaining strength. The campaigns of the Knights of the Ebon Blade and the Order of the Silver Hand during the Legion's invasion added new chapters to Stratholme's storied history. The Ebon Blade's retrieval of the Death Charger's saddle demonstrated their pragmatic approach to combating the Scourge, using their own dark powers to secure relics that could tip the balance in the broader war. The Silver Hand's mission to purify Shadowmane and secure holy water reaffirmed Stratholme's sacred legacy, connecting their efforts to the city's origins as a birthplace of their order. Both campaigns underscored the ongoing struggle to reclaim the Plaguelands from the Scourge, even as the Legion's invasion demanded attention elsewhere. Stratholme's role as a battleground during this period highlighted its enduring significance. The city's burned ruins, contested by the undead, Death Knights, and Paladins, remained a crucible where the ideals of the light were tested against the forces of death and corruption. The defeat of Ramian the Soul Taker, the purification of Shadowmane were victories for the Silver Hand, but the persistent presence of undead in Stratholme streets served as a reminder of the Scourge's resilience. The Silver Hand's resolve to keep a closer eye on the city reflected a broader commitment to prevent another catastrophe like the Cullen or the Scourge's initial takeover. The events also had personal and symbolic resonance. The purification of Shadowmane in Alonsus Chapel echoed the Silver Hand's founding in that very location, reinforcing the Order's connection to Stratholme's past. The defeat of figures like the Patriarch, Vivian's Lament, and Ramian the Soul Taker added to the city's grim roster of fallen champions and monsters, each a testament to its tragic history. The Ebon Blade and the Silver Hand's actions, though distinct in their methods, shared a common goal: to weaken the Scourge and restore hope to a land scarred by decades of conflict. During the Burning Legion's third invasion, Stratholme remained a haunting symbol of Lordaeron's fall and a battleground for the forces of life and death. The Knights of the Ebon Blade's mission to retrieve the Death Charger's saddle and the Order of the Silver Hand's campaign to purify Shadowmane and secure holy water demonstrated the city's continuing importance in the fight against the Scourge. The battles against the Patriarch, Vivian's Lament, and Ramian the Soul Taker, combined with the Silver Hand's efforts to secure Elder Square and Alonsus Chapel, marked significant victories, yet the undead's persistence ensured that Stratholme remained a contested ruin. The Silver Hand's vow to watch the city closely reflected their enduring commitment to its sacred legacy, ensuring that Stratholme, despite its tragedies, would continue to inspire those who sought to reclaim the light from the shadows of undeath. Battle for Azeroth. The Fourth War, marked by escalating tensions between the Alliance and the Horde following the events of the Battle for Azeroth, diverted resources and attention from the Plaguelands, allowing the Scourge to regroup in areas like Stratholme. The city, already a smoldering ruin since the Cullen during the Third War, and a Scourge stronghold under leaders like Baron Rivendare, Aurius Rivendare, and the dreadlord Balnazzar, remained a hotspot of necromantic activity. Its burning streets, plagued by undead horrors such as ghouls, abominations, and banshees, were a constant reminder of the Scourge's enduring threat. The fall of the Lich King, and subsequent victories by the Argent Crusade during the Catacyslm and Legion had weakened the Scourge, but the undead's resilience ensured that Stratholme remained a dangerous enclave. The increased Scourge activity during the Fourth War suggested a resurgence of necromantic forces, possibly driven by remnants of the Cult of the Damned or opportunistic necromancers seeking to exploit the war's chaos. Stratholme's strategic position in the Eastweld and its historic significance as a center of the light made it a prime target for such efforts. The Argent Crusade, having established temporary footholds in the city during prior campaigns, recognized the need to act swiftly to prevent the Scourge from regaining strength. Alonsus Chapel and the Scarlet Bastion, previously reclaimed by the Crusade, remained symbolic strongholds, but the city's broader districts were still overrun with the undead, requiring constant vigilance. The Argent Crusade, a coalition of paladins, priests, and warriors dedicated to eradicating the Scourge, detected a new threat emanating from Stratholme during the Fourth War. Reports of heightened undead activity, possibly tied to a renewed attempt to spread the plague of undeath, prompted the Crusade to mobilize. John Wilkers, a seasoned member of the Argent Crusade known for his determination and combat prowess, was tasked with leading missions to clear the Scourge from Stratholme's service entrance, a key access point to the city's eastern districts. The service entrance located near the East Wall Gate was a strategic choke point that had been used in prior campaigns, such as the Silverhand's assault during Legion. Controlling it was essential to disrupting the Scourge's operations and securing a foothold for further incursions. Wilkers, accompanied by skilled adventurers, assembled a strike force to infiltrate the service entrance. The mission was perilous, as the entrance was heavily guarded by Scourge forces, including skeletal warriors, necromancers, and plague-ridden abomination. The team fought through waves of undead, their weapons imbued with the light to counter the necromantic taint. Wilker's leadership and the adventurers' combat expertise proved crucial, as they systematically cleared the entrance, dismantling traps and destroying undead sentries. The operation was a success, securing the surface entrance and establishing a temporary base from which the Crusade could launch deeper assaults into Stratholme. The victory at the service entrance was a significant step in curbing the Scourge's resurgence, but it also revealed the extent of the undead's entrenchment. The sheer number of enemies encountered suggested that Stratholme remained a major hub of Scourge activity, with necromantic forces actively working to bolster their numbers. The success of the mission emboldened the Argent Crusade, but it also set the stage for a more disturbing discovery within the city's heart. As Wilkers and the adventurers pressed deeper into Stratholme, their mission led them to the Slaughterhouse, a grim district in the eastern city known for its brutal Scourge presence and history of horrific battles. The Slaughterhouse, once a place of commerce and industry, had become a stronghold for the undead, its halls filled with the stench of decay and the screams of tortured souls. There, the Crusade's forces uncovered a chilling scene. Two shadowy figures, cloaked in dark robes and wielding powerful necromantic magic, were performing a ritual on Blackmane, a corrupted mount reminiscent of the Death Charger once ridden by Baron Rivendare. Blackmane, a skeletal warhorse imbued with necromantic energy, was a symbol of the Scourge's corruption, its dark power a twisted counterpart to the purified golden charger created by the Silverhand during Legion. The shadowy figures, likely members of the Cult of the Damned, or rogue necromancers exploiting the Fourth War's chaos, were attempting to enhance Blackmane's necromantic abilities, to unleash it as a weapon against the living and spread the plague further. Their ritual was a complex blend of dark runes and fel-tinged magic, suggesting a connection to the broader demonic influences still lingering from the Legion's invasion. Wilkers and the adventurers confronted the shadowy figures, engaging them in a fierce battle amidst the Slaughterhouse's blood-stained halls. The necromancers fought with a fanatical zeal, summoning undead minions and casting necromantic spells to protect Blackmane. Despite the intensity of the fight, the shadowy figures proved elusive, using their magic to cloak themselves in darkness and escape before they could be defeated or captured. Their retreat left Wilkers and the adventurers with Blackmane, but the Mount's corruption posed a new challenge, as its necromantic abilities threatened to spread if not contained. The encounter raised troubling questions about the Scourge's plans. The shadowy figure's ability to wield such potent necromantic magic suggested a coordinated effort to revive the Scourge's powers in Stratholme, possibly under the direction of a higher authority within the Cult of the Damned, or a remnant of the Lich King's influence. The escape of the necromancers meant that the threat persisted, and the Argent Crusade would need to remain vigilant to prevent further rituals or outbreaks in the Plaguelands. From the fall of Balnazzar and Aurius Rivendare to the Argent Crusade's fleeting victories in Alonsus Chapel and the Scarlet Bastion, Stratholme remains a crucible of the light and shadow. Yet, the Scourge's dark legacy persists, with new necromantic threats emerging in the Slaughterhouse. In our series finale, we will uncover the fate of the city's defiant survivors, clinging to hope amidst the undead hordes, and explore whether Stratholme's sacred past can ever be reclaimed. Don't miss the epic conclusion. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell to join us for the final chapter of Azeroth's haunted saga.